man, oh, man. I watched that hockey game last night.
You're into the 4 Nations tourney now. By the way, have we determined, do you know what the other 2 nations are?
Have no idea. Because I'll just say
but
this.
we do know 2 of them.
I'm a casual hockey fan, and I think if you live in Phoenix, you're most likely
Sadly,
a casual hockey fan. Even after the Coyotes lost, but there hasn't been a politically charged hockey game like that.
Yeah.
The U.S. versus Canada, and Trump trolling Trudeau and Canada, calling him Governor Trudeau, calling Canada the 51st state. So we had this hockey game, and the last time they played like a week ago, the gloves were dropped, center ice, as soon as the game started, and they're beating on each other.
Right away, jumped into a fight.
It is as politically charged a hockey game as I've seen since, you want to say 1980? USSR.
Remember that?
The Olympic hockey team winning that game? Do you remember that?
I do.
Al Michaels.
Do you believe in miracles?
The hand is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Can I do my little known fact about this?
Please.
That was not the gold medal game.
I know.
That was the semifinal game to get to the gold medal.
It was better than the gold medal game.
It's the one people remember because the Ruskies were the evil empire.
What is it like to
and we're good.
Sure. What is it like to play in a politically charged sporting event, especially hockey? On the line right now, team captain, 1980, U.S. Olympic hockey team, Mike Eruzione. How about that?
Hey!
Mike, how are you today?
Hey, not as warm as you guys.
You must be in hockey place because, it is decidedly warm in the valley today.
Where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from?
I'm in Boston.
Okay.
I'm in Boston.
It's cold in Boston, yeah.
There it is.
It's almost 90 out here,
Yes,
Mike.
it is. And I'm heading to a hockey game, so okay.
Look at you, Eruzione. Look
Love
at that.
Love it.
So, I mean, do you think it's fair to say that game played last night was, it's going to be remembered not just for the hockey, but for the politics behind it, kind of like your game was?
Well, not from the player standpoint. The player standpoint, it's a hockey game. I can guarantee you not 1 minute was talked about the political climate, which was the same in 1980 with us. We were playing a hockey game. We did not know the world was watching. The country was watching the way they were. Let's go back to 1980. There was no social media. There was 3 TV stations. The game tape delay.
Yeah.
The Soviets. We found out after the game or after the Olympics that this thing was a big deal. To us, it was an opportunity to win a gold medal for your country.
Yeah.
But never looking at it from what people in this country saw it as. And I firmly believe the U.S.-Canada game the other night was the same way. These 2 great countries that compete against themselves on the ice to see who might be the best team. I don't believe, and I can guarantee you not 1 minute was talked about them becoming the 51st state or whatever else is going on from a political climate.
Oh, that's super interesting. Mike Eruzione is joining us, team captain, 1980 U.S. hockey team when they beat the Soviet Union. So last night it was Canada beating Team USA 3-2 in overtime. Watched the game. It was great hockey. It was high stakes. It was fun to watch. Like when you were playing the Soviets, though, didn't you want to beat them a little bit more than like Finland, just because of some of the things in the world and that were happening? Even though you didn't concentrate on it, didn't you want to beat them a little bit more than another team, or am I off?
No, I think you're off to some degree. We wanted to beat them, but we sure as hell wanted to beat Finland more because if we don't beat Finland, we don't win the gold medal.
Yeah, it wouldn't mattered at all. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. If we don't beat Finland, you and I, we're not having this conversation right now.
Yeah, well, that's a solid argument. Yeah.
It would have been, hey, great Olympics if you only could have beat Finland.
Yeah.
So I think, again, after the games, we found out and realized that this thing was incredibly powerful. And as I said to someone the other day, maybe we could use a 1980 right now because it galvanized the country without us knowing it.
Yeah,
And
but it's interesting you say that, Mike. I was going to say, I want to follow up on that real quick. I mean, because at the time, and I was a little bit younger, I acknowledge, but I was paying attention. You guys were the underdogs. Russia was seen as this great power in hockey. The NHL hadn't, to my memory, hadn't really become invaded by these people from all over the world, the best players in the world coming here. So you guys had a big mountain to climb, right?
Oh, from a hockey standpoint, absolutely. They were considered the best team in the world. They were going, I think, for their fourth consecutive Olympic gold medal. They had beaten the NHL All-Stars by a score of 6-0. They beat the Montreal Canadiens. They beat the New York Islanders. They beat the New York Rangers. We beat Harvard. We beat Yale. Schedules were a little different. Our average age was 22, 21 and a half, 22.
Wow.
They were average age was probably around 28, 29. I don't know if I said this earlier. They had some players going for their third consecutive gold medal. So that's some of these guys playing together for 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
They were professionals. We were college players. So, yeah, I mean, from the hockey standpoint, absolutely. And then they beat us 10-3 2 days before the opening of the Olympic Games. So, yeah, from a hockey standpoint, it was an incredible mountain to climb. But that, I guess, I don't want to have old adage, but that's why you play the game.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. And, we end up beating them and then, captivating everything by winning on Sunday. Then we went to the White House on Monday. President Carter sent the Air Force One to pick us up.
Really?
All the Olympians. And we arrived in Washington, and the streets were lined 5 rows deep of people waving flags, chanting USA, USA. And my teammates and I looked around and went, wow, this thing was a big deal.
What the heck just happened?
Oh, my gosh. Mike Eruzione's joining
well, you
us.
remember we're playing in Lake Placid,
Right.
a small, tiny little town.
Sure.
The Olympic Games weren't as big then as they are now. In terms of, there's more sports now, there's more athletes now, there's more countries competing now. So it was a quaint little Olympic Games tournament, and the political climate was far greater. You get again, go back to 1979, inflation, gas lines, the hostages had been taken. The Soviets had invaded Afghanistan. So inflation, the interest rates and inflation was off the charts. So as a country, we were, I guess, kind of, a little pissed off, and we needed something. And all of a sudden, a group of 22-year-old college hockey players go out and shock the world.
We are speaking with Mike Eruzione, the team captain for the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. And last night, Team Canada beat Team USA 3-2. Yes, politically charged hockey game with everything that's going on currently. And Mike Eruzione, talking about the game against the Soviet Union. Patriotism. When did that really sink in when you guys won back there in 1980? Was it always, we have to do it for the country, we have to do it for the flag? A lot of people now are like, I got to do it for me. I want to do it for me.
That conversation never entered our locker room. And I've said this, since 1980, and this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Other than being a police officer or a firefighter or somebody serving in our country in the military, there's no greater feeling than putting on a USA jersey. I'm not playing for Boston. I'm not playing for Philadelphia. I'm not playing for Arizona. I'm playing for the United States. Yeah. And the Olympic Games is something that's very special. And our athletes understand that. And we did clearly in 1980. It's a great honor. When I stood in the podium, and you see your flag being risen just a little higher, and everybody in the building singing the Star Spangled Banner. Yeah, that's an incredible, proud moment, and that's what it was for us to play for your country and to represent your country is very special. And when I had the opportunity to speak to this year's team for the tournament, and I talked about that and how important it was to put that jersey on, because these guys are professional hockey players and the best of the best. But they play for, Philadelphia or Arizona or Boston. Sure. But when they put that jersey on, you couldn't believe how quickly they became Team USA. And playing for their country means a lot. And Canada said the same thing. Oh, yeah. You're playing for your country. You're not playing for a city or a town. And that'll change now because they're back to their NHL cities tomorrow or the next day, and now they're going to try to win a Stanley Cup. But the next time they have this tournament or the Olympic Games in Italy, it's a whole different mindset, boy. You're putting that jersey on, and now it's a battle.
Mike Eruzione joining us right now, the team captain of that 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team that amazingly beat the Ruskies and then went on to win gold. I got a question, and I'm sure you've been asked this one a million times. Sorry, I don't have anything original. Do you miss the days when it was non-pros? It was college players playing for the national team before it turned into what it is now?
Yeah, you know what I thought how it was going to be. And I asked a player named Brooks Orpik, who played in the first time the pros played in the Olympic Games. And Brooks was a great player. And he was playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I said, you're going down the ice, and all of a sudden Sidney Crosby comes across the ice, and he's your teammate.
Yeah.
Are you going to hit him?
Oh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a whole different thing.
Wow.
And we'll separate our differences.
Okay.
They all know it. Hockey players get it. I'm not saying other athletes don't get it, but we don't have a lot of international competition.
Right.
And the NFL doesn't, do that. Maybe baseball or basketball once in a while.
Yeah, but you don't get to hit them.
Players understand. Right. Players understand how important that is.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of an unwritten not rule or law, but they know they're going into battle. And once I heard that, I was convinced. You know what? The best got to play the best.
Okay.
And the other faction of this is Europe is so much better now. A lot of their countries, Switzerland, Poland, Germany, they're pretty damn good now, and they weren't quite that good in that era. So now, in the United States, we're one of the favorites. We weren't favorites prior to 1980, and as we, since 1980, we've kind of developed and
you put us on the map.
How good. Well, we you know what? I'll give you a statistic.
Okay.
In 1980, I think 1% of Americans were in the National Hockey League. In 1996, the U.S. team won the World Cup or Canada Cup, and I think there were 19% of Americans in the National Hockey League, 20%. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think it's 34%, 35%. So you look at our roster. I mean, Austin Matthews is from Arizona.
Yeah.
So you look at these players and where they've come from. They're from Florida. They're from California. Yeah. They're from Texas, St. Louis. It used to be Michigan, Massachusetts, Minnesota. That's changed.
Right.
So it's a global game, and we belong. We go into a tournament now, and we're one of the favorites, and deservingly so. We've got great players.
Hey, Mike Eruzione joined us. Last one. Do you acknowledge that this game was bigger because of Trump's mouth? I understand that both teams wanted it. They fought. But this was bigger because I think...
Well, was it the players or the fans? Bigger?
I don't know, because Trump is kind of antagonizing Canada. It made it bigger, right?
I guarantee you the players never said one word about it.
Okay.
From the fans and the standpoint of, people there, they probably thought about it. But I don't think, sitting in the locker room, Austin Matthews is the captain of the team and said, "Hey, remember, we hate Canada."
All right. Okay.
The heck with those back bacon eating, maple drinking. Yeah, it's a little harder to hate Canada.
I don't believe that I don't believe that conversation ever came about. And from a political standpoint, that's one thing, but from a players playing, never is discussed.
Great insight.
Mike Eruzione. Mike, thank you not only for spending some time with us today, but thank you for what you brought all of us in 1980.
Hey, thanks for beating the Russians. I've always wanted to tell you that. Thanks for beating the Russians, man.
Well, I can agree with that now. Thank you.
Here. Yay!
All right, thanks,
all right.
Mike. Take care.
Let's play those suckers again.
Yeah.
I'd love to
do
see
it. All righty.
All right. Mike Eruzione, everybody, the team captain for the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, joining us because of he played in such a politically charged game, the U.S. versus the USSR in 1980. And what we saw last night, and I watched this, and it was intense. Those two teams wanted to win for their country. Canada beat the U.S. 3-2 in overtime. It was a thrilling game. Some of the best hockey I've seen in years. And I think I'm going to disagree with Mike a little bit. I think it was a big game because of the big mouth of our president. I think that really made
I think the fans, I tend to agree with that. I think the fans were much more...
I'm a fan, yeah.
Right, that Mike focused on it. Maybe it didn't mean more to the players.
And Mike
it meant enough already, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.